welcome to Seas of Change's next episode of OceanViews. I am so excited to welcome our next guest. So then, can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Hi, my name is Zen. So I was born and raised in Malaysia, but I'm currently studying in Japan, in Tokyo. So this is my sixth year in Japan. I came here right after high school, so I'm 24 right now. So I study environmental politics, environmental issues, and just generally communications in environmental issues. But my department is liberal studies, so it intersects a lot of politics to economics to media studies, and it is a wide range of subjects. So I found myself really interested in environmental science and environmental politics. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm currently writing my thesis about the gap between youth change makers or youth activists in the environmental field and the structural and the system of power. So what's the gap between and how can we reduce the gap? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Other than school, I founded ProjekWaste in Malaysia where I was born, but it just started like 3 years ago. No, 2 or 3 years ago, yeah. And what we do is basically, it is ProjekWaste, so a project to reduce waste. And we try to educate, because it's on the island. We found it on the island called Pulau Perhentian or the Perhentian Islands. So we try to educate the locals and also tourists coming into the island about waste issues, waste reduction, and just environmental sustainability in general to make it a more eco-tourism or eco-destination. But we usually do beach cleanups and also some campaigns, online campaigns, and also establishing partnerships with the local establishments on the island itself. Yeah, what else? So I also teach yoga. I'm a yoga instructor. I really like yoga and I love how it kind of grounds me down on all the other things that I've been doing. It's, I wouldn't say it's a mess, but you know, I think like mental health and also all of our lives in this busy society, you know, is making us go crazy. So yoga is a really good way to ground me. And also I share my knowledge with my students and people who come to my classes. So I wish to share more on like the well-being of human and also how this can connect to protecting our earth. Is that too much?
No, that was a good amount. Thank you for sharing that. ProjekWaste sounds like such a cool initiative. So how do you manage to balance environmental work with everything else you do, like the university, writing your thesis, yoga instructing? It seems like you do a lot. So
yeah, it can get so much sometimes and I kind of get burned out sometimes too, but like I said, yoga is a really good way for me to, you know, ground myself and bring myself back to ground zero and to just listen to my body and listen to myself. So what do I need right now and what serves me the best right now, and to make me just make better choices. But other than that, rest, I think that rest is radical and we need to give ourselves time to heal. So lots of like I wouldn't say I would just, you know, rest the whole day, but taking a few slots to rest. And if you have experienced a burnout, it will go on days that we will feel unproductive and unmotivated. And that's fine because, you know, we need this rest and we need this time to reset. And you know, just the way of thinking of we need to keep moving, and you know, when we're resting someone else is hustling, this mindset has to go, and everyone needs to rest and everyone needs to heal in order for us to, you know, just rise higher and be, you know, just better in doing what we're doing. So yeah, just I guess listening to myself.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's so important. I think as young people, we kind of set our minds on something and then just go for it. But I think sometimes a lot of us do forget to rest, and it's so important that you do bring that up. So thank you for sharing that. But I guess my next question for you is, how did you become interested in environmental conservation? Like, did you have some big moment of realization, or was it more of a gradual thing, obviously with your degree as well? How did that all come
Mhm.
about?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it was a long journey. It started also just recently in the past maybe 3-4 years, because I guess like growing up, although I lived near the ocean and a very quiet city, a very not a huge big city. So I guess in some point, although it is not right in the city, I guess I kind of took granted for like the nature around me. So I didn't really think of like, oh, I need to protect this area, or I can't do this and I can't do that, because it was just abundance. So I didn't really think about like, oh, we need to save the turtles, and things like that. But I guess like growing more towards like adulthood, living in Japan, in Tokyo, I see a lot of, I guess like pollution was also one of it, but also getting away from the city makes me just so excited, because I don't think I'm just suited to be someone who lives in the city. And whenever I get out of the city and just go into nature, I just feel so much better. And that's when I sort of like built this relationship with nature. And I guess like the most aha moment for me was that when I went back to Malaysia during the pandemic. I guess like before going back to Malaysia, I wasn't very much proud of my roots. I don't know, this is a very complex feelings that I had for a very long time. But going back to Malaysia this time in the age of like 20, I felt very much connected to my roots, and I found a lot of relationship with just my own country. So during the pandemic, I was living in the island for, I think, like more than about 6 months. And that was when I was teaching yoga on the island, in a resort. And I also started diving, scuba diving. And I guess that was like the most intriguing moment, because I saw what I saw. So beaches were really like filled with trash, and the ocean was also filled with trash, and all the corals, I saw some bleached corals, and I saw just ghost nets. And that was one time because I didn't have like the tools to cut the ghost nets or to bring them up. I just stared and I just like cried in that moment. And it was so quiet, because when you're underwater, you can't communicate through speaking, and you can't communicate through talking. So I just took pictures. And when I went back, I told instructor that you guys need to go back there and take out those ghost nets, because it's just so huge. But yeah, that was like one of the moments where I really felt so sad that I need to do something. It doesn't have to be something big, but I want to do something for me and also for what is right in front of me. So that was how like ProjekWaste kind of started.
Wow, you have such an amazing story. It's so inspiring.
I think like for a lot of people, being in nature is like what makes us realize that this is something we definitely need to protect. So yeah, thank you for sharing with us. The next question we have is, what are the next steps for you in like your journey with environmental conversation? Do you have any current or upcoming projects that you'd like to share?
Yes. So in ProjekWaste, we do regular cleanups and we do like online campaigns. But this coming August, summer, I'm going back to Malaysia, like finally. So I will be going into the island, and we'll be doing an event. It's called For the Ocean Tour. So what we'll be doing is a weekend. It's like a music festival, but like for the ocean, also without the music. It's a lot of conservation activities, a lot of well-being activities. So it'll be filled with beach cleanups, underwater cleanups for divers. We're doing like hiking, yoga, and we'll do some workshops on how we upcycle the plastics that we picked up from the beach. And also lots of stuff that is just filled in this weekend. And we got really good response, and our registration is actually closed, but we're thinking to do that again maybe twice a year or more than that, because apparently a lot of people are interested in doing conservation activities, but they don't really know how to start. So I think making an event that will be fun and also inviting is a really good start. So that is one, I guess, like the nearest physical event that we'll be doing. Another offline activity is that in ProjekWaste, are looking to make the island plastic free. It won't happen in a year or two. So it is a long-term project that will be collaborating with a lot of stakeholders, a lot of startups, or even like companies that are doing really well, university students, volunteers, and of course the locals. So achieving that goal is what we're working on right now, doing, lots of stuff behind the scenes. So yeah, that's also one of the huge thing that I hope to achieve in the future.
That's incredible. And the event sounds amazing. And I wish you all the best for the event, but also,
Thank
to
you.
put out into the universe that amazing goal. This sounds amazing. If we can do anything to help, let us know. But
yes, please.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask is, you have this incredible journey and you've done all of these things. What would you say has been your proudest moment or your favorite memory out of it all?
I'd say my proudest moment is when my team started to grow. So it started just me and my partner back when we first started. I honestly didn't think that it's going to be a team. Okay, so we're just gonna do beach cleanups and we're just gonna share some photos online. But then we started thinking like, hey, maybe we need more people to start doing more things. So we asked like a few friends on the island to join our activities and to join what we do, like post stuffs online and do some research and talk to the locals. Yeah, and then we started from like 4 people, and then now we're like increasing to like we're expanding to more than 10 team members right now. So that was like my proudest moment, and also I guess my happiest moment. It sounds weird, but like when we collect a lot of trash, I'm happy. Like in a way it's sad, but also in a good way, like, look, this is what we've been throwing. So that's sort of like my happy moments of like making everyone witness what is supposed to be seen. So that's, yeah, I guess that's also one of the moments that was pretty inspiring as well.
And like, I know you say it's like it's weird or whatever, but like, no, it's like incredible. Like, I feel like my favorite memories are just being able to actually do something, like you put all this effort to organize things and do all the behind the scenes stuff, and it's really stressful and difficult. And when you actually get to see it come to fruition, it's so exciting. So those are like the best memories. It's always the memories that people don't always expect as well, which I always love.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So you've shared a lot of positive moments. There's obviously benefits and good experiences you've gained from this, but what have been some challenges that you've faced on this journey, and what have you learned from those challenges?
So I would say the biggest challenge, or 2 biggest challenges, are, I guess, first is how we communicate with the locals. So I'm talking about like our base where, we have locals, we have the tourists, we have people just working and just living on the island. So communicating and listening to them and talking to them is actually not that easy, because we can say, hey, we should do this and that, but that's not how we integrate things to how people have been living for decades and decades. Not to say that what they've been doing is like so wrong. It's just that there's still a lot of things that can be improved. So I learned that we just need to listen, and it's okay if they don't change. Like, it's fine if we don't achieve 100% perfectly what we want, but we do want to get across the message of we're trying. And to gain their trust is also a journey that we've been on now. Although a lot of our members are Malaysians and local people as well, but yeah, I would say like generational differences is also one thing that we need to keep in mind. So a lot of our other friends or organization friends are trying to work on youth education, so we can build up, a fresh new generation of youths that will be, or who will be, very empowering and very conscious. But then we don't want to just give up on, the generations that have been contributing so much, the goods, of course, up to this day. So yeah, I guess like showing what we've been doing and gaining trust is one challenge that we've been facing, but it's a good challenge. So it keeps us on our toes. And I guess like second would be how I feel personally. Of sometimes I feel like I've been doing too much, and as a team or as someone is directing a lot of things, sometimes I feel kind of lonely. Although I do have all of our members together, but I do feel that sometimes everything is on me, and that is a challenge that I've battled with myself. So it's like nothing to do with anyone else, but it's just like me. So what I think can be done to improve this, or what I've learned from this, is just to let loose, and just not try to be so perfect, and it's fine if we fail, and yeah, just let it flow and just go with the flow. Yeah, I guess that's that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And like, I think, there's something to be said about hearing about the challenges that other people have faced and how they've overcome them, to actually be able to learn from each other so that we don't make the same mistakes. And I think definitely, burning out and perfectionism and everything is so hard, and everyone's so young, especially. You shared so much advice, but I guess my final question for you is, how powerful do you believe that young voices are, like the voices of youth? And then what the one piece of advice that you would give up and coming change makers?
I think youth voices are the most powerful thing. Youths can influence so much, like even their families, their friends, people on the internet. Youth voices are so important. I think I wish I could go back in time, but I'm also kind of happy that I could live all of my childhood in, I didn't have to do all these things when I was growing up. Like seeing a lot of young change makers now going on to, conferences and speaking out and doing demonstrations and, all these things, all this activism. Although I am proud, but I do feel really sad of, why do you need to do that in such a young age? You should be playing, and you should be just having fun and enjoying nature and enjoying, the presence of friends and family. But I'm so proud and so happy that youths are, realizing and acknowledging all the problems that a lot of adults don't even know. So like that is such an amazing point of view. And, as I guess as an adult, I am so inspired, and also I guess I learned so much as well from some of my juniors and everyone here, of course. Yeah, so that's what I think youth voices are really, really huge, and we can do so much together as a collective. And the advice is just to chill, chill out. Try not to stress, too much. Like it can be really hard sometimes. I cry a lot just, listening to or watching news about how the climate crisis is. But yeah, I guess like take it easy, and find your community, find people to talk to. And if you need to go to, someone to talk to, if you need to go to therapy, just go. It doesn't matter how old you are. Try exercising, try yoga, try meditation, try to, practice, breathing, and just being with yourself and listening to your body. I feel like I have so much more to say, but I'm blank right now. So that's all.
That's just like, I don't know what else you could say. That's just such amazing advice. And so thank you so much for sharing your story with us and sharing, just so full of wisdom. It's been amazing to listen to you. So thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today, and your love for meditation and yoga and the environment. So thank you so much for taking the time for this. And we've loved listening and chatting with you today.
Thank you so much for inviting me here.